Welcome to the Shifting Realities podcast. I'm your host, Julie Allison, and with me is my co-host and friend, Robert Perry.
Hello.
In today's podcast, we are just going to talk about some of the things that we hold onto and just don't let go. And then what happens to that when we bring these things into the kind of the now, the current reality. So what do we mean by this? So we're going to do the scenario. Let's take a couple of scenarios. Let's do the scenario of you're in a job that you hate and you've been in this job. I've known people being in the job for 20 and 30 years and you hate it because you don't like the work you're doing, or there's bullying around. I've been in a scenario where I let people bully me, I'm going to call it that. And at the same time, you might also be struggling with a health condition. So you've got all the sorts of things going on, and you're struggling in your head to try and cope with. Maybe it's pain, maybe it's a back pain, as well as trying to keep up with doing this job that that's where somebody's loading all sorts onto you, and the people that you're working with, the relationships are not good. So what we could maybe take from that is when if you go to a therapist maybe with a bad back, obviously you would go to the doctors as well. But if you went to a therapist, and we always say, oh, it's because you're not moving forward. But all I usually see with that is people nod and agree. Oh, yes, I might not be moving forward. But then we just continue in that version of ourselves without actually doing anything. But it's actually, myself and Rob have found it's only when you do make that forward leap, that forward move, that new move, when we say move away from the situation, move away and start moving into a job that you love or something else that you really want to do. And as we mentioned in last week's podcast, you're doing this from your heart and your soul, and if you take steps to make it happen, you'll realize as soon as you move into more of your purpose and out of the old situation, which, yes, can feel comfortable, but is still keeping you with your bad back that you can't just grasp why. It could be there for years. Oh, I've just had this bad back. I've got to live with it now. You're thinking all these things. But what if you just moved out of that situation? That will get rid of your back problems. You work to what I did with man. I was in a situation where I was bullied at school, and that carried on into adulthood. And I would love my job at first, and then a few new people would come in, and it's the universe telling me, you've still got this bullying victim mentality, Julie, and you're also ready to leave the job. So I got it in the end. I got it and understood, and worked in. Naturally, it's taken me years, but worked for a few years to remove the bullying, and I've never known that to happen anymore. I think you've had a situation, haven't you, as well, Rob, with pain in your back, I
Yeah,
think.
totally. And I'm glad you said back pain because of
Yeah.
total resonance for me.
Yeah.
I was in a job that I had really wanted, felt really blessed to have. I was in a globally admired arts organization,
Mm.
working with the best in the industry. And I thought, wow, this is it. I've landed. Awesome.
Mm.
But without realizing it, it's one of those hindsight things, isn't it? In the middle of my tenure there, I was there for 20 years. In the middle of that, around about 10 years ago, I put my back out
Mm.
excruciatingly, so I had to crawl about on all fours like
Oh.
an infant.
Mm.
I'd never experienced anything like it, and I couldn't describe it. And of course, you don't get much sympathy because nobody can see anything.
No.
So I sort of gritted my teeth and sort of
Yeah.
just got on with it. But
It's
it
that thing, you've got to
stayed with
live with
me.
it. You've got to live
Yeah,
with it, Rob.
so I lived with it. Yeah, and because I had work to do, and I had to get to
Yeah.
work, and I had to do the job.
All the 3D things that we
But
do.
yeah, absolutely. And it wasn't always there.
Mm.
It would come and go. And after about 5 years, I realized it was coming back when I was stressed by something at work.
Mm.
Yeah, it might be a task that needed doing or a big job that I had to finish, or I was leading on and there was, a lot of pressure on it, whatever. And that sort of was when the penny dropped.
Mm.
And I would say at that point, it probably lessened, but it didn't go. And
Yes.
then came the pandemic, and I thought, I've had enough. I'm out. Done
Yeah.
it. This is my time now to do what I want to do. And from that day forth, I have not had a twinge, nothing at all.
That's amazing, isn't it?
So,
It's
isn't it
amazing.
just? But you know, I think so many people out there will, if
Yeah.
they go backwards,
Mm,
will
mm.
realize that
Yeah.
trajectory.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until I made a conscious decision to do the work that I felt called to
Yeah.
do, as opposed to the
Mm.
work that I thought I should be doing because it was
Exactly.
glamorous and fabulous,
Exactly.
and everyone
Yeah.
thought I was dreadfully clever to be doing it. You know, it wasn't my truth.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Isn't that
So,
amazing? That, it's just
absolutely. Yeah.
proof. Yeah,
Yeah.
proof
And
of it.
no regret at all
Oh
that I took
no.
this path, because I needed to take the path, and I needed for my back to go out. You know, there's the trauma we were talking about last week.
Yeah.
You know, that you sometimes
Yeah.
just need a slap to get yourself
Absolutely.
into
Yes.
position. That
Yes.
back pain was the slap I needed. It's a shame I
Exactly.
didn't realize it sooner.
Yes,
But you
exactly.
know, that said, it was probably around about then that I started really training hard and did my Reiki masters, did theta healing,
Mm.
looking for ways.
Yes.
And I
Yeah.
think those modalities
Taking the
over
steps
the years,
forward.
as they melded into one modality for me,
Mm.
were what drew me to the point at the pandemic when I thought, out.
Mm. Mm.
This is
Yeah.
not what you're supposed to do.
Yeah.
So no regrets in having that job for all those years, despite the back pain, and even fewer regrets for having left it, because
Yes.
it has transformed my life.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
absolutely does, doesn't it? Yeah.
yeah.
And, it's amazing that you've actually mentioned the pandemic, because we can go through the pandemic and say, oh, it's all bad. And, because I can say things myself. I had to, stop my massage
Mm,
business. But in actual fact, for many, many people, if you look at it and think about it and think more positively at the time about it, it has changed a lot of people's lives. It has made us more
yeah.
aware. It made my friend who didn't do any of her artwork since she was 19, made my friend get out and do her artwork, and she's now doing commissions for her
Mm,
art. She still has the job, and that's absolutely another job. That's absolutely fine. The normal, the normal job. But she loves doing her artwork as well, and just as the odd things, because she enjoys it. But that wouldn't have happened if we hadn't had
yeah, yeah.
the trauma of having
And
to
a
stop
global
things,
trauma.
global trauma as
And we could talk
well.
about what the
Yeah.
pandemic meant to the earth
Mm.
at
Yes.
another occasion, perhaps, because it's an
Oh,
entirely different
yes.
subject. What's
Yeah, very
a whole other
interesting.
thing to talk
Yeah,
about?
yeah,
We
definitely.
get slaps in the face from the universe, and the
Yeah.
earth got a slap in the face. Yeah.
Yes, it did. It needed. Yeah, it needed
Or
that rest.
humanity, not the earth. Yeah.
Yeah. Yes, it needed that
Yeah.
rest. So again, that's about, the universe going, gonna, kick you up the bum to
You need to
show you things.
change. You
Yeah.
need to change. Yeah.
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 I mean, interesting with my life as well, with some things. I've sort of struggled, I'm sure, like a lot of people, um, struggled with having energy. Now, I've never been diagnosed with anything like CFS or ME or anything like that. And I actually know of a lot of people that do have this, and they struggle like anything. But I always think about this is, as soon as I started doing what I wanted to do, my energy, I just, my energy came back. So I'm not saying it's as easy as that, but
Yeah.
it's just about, what is it that I was keeping hold of. And also, I remember even just recently, even just from last year, a couple of years ago, I've never had a problem with weight. I've never even really thought about it too much. But I do know that obviously a lot of ladies in particular worry about the weight. But once again, what we need to say here is, it's not always the obvious about, I need to lose weight, and then you're just in a, sort of a like a merry-go-round of losing weight and putting it on. But I didn't even think about it. But as soon as I started to do some work that the guides had had wanted me to do, and I wasn't listening at first, but as soon as I started listening and doing the work, I suddenly realized I suddenly didn't want some of the food. I didn't want the biscuits and
Hmm.
crisps and things like that. And I actually lost weight, and I had so much energy. It was only a little bit for me, but it was actually noticeable. People were noticing it. I didn't really notice it myself. But that wasn't through, is it? I'll just stress again, that wasn't through me going, I need to lose weight. That was just through me going, okay, guides, go with it. Let's go with it. Let's do some of this work. I'll listen
Yeah.
to you and I'll, bring in people. And that's when I literally started, it was the start of my membership, group membership. And and knowing now, I absolutely love working with groups, realize that was my calling. And that's when you
Mm.
start feeling a lot better. And then there's
Yeah.
another part to this, isn't there, Rob, where the the not letting go of others and allowing others to kind of, I'm going to say drain. You get those ones that drain your energy,
Yeah.
um, and yet we don't. It's not that we have to really leave them behind altogether, but it's just taking care of yourself. I think you found this, didn't you, Rob, in your life?
I did, Julie. Yeah. And I
Believe,
think,
yeah.
we all have a circle of friends and acquaintances and colleagues, however you term them.
Mm,
And a lot of them are great and stay with you forever. Some of them come and go, and others become a presence that is a problem to you in
yeah.
that they need your energy to feed them.
Yes.
And
Yes.
they do that by really dumping on you or taking
Mm,
too much of your time,
mm,
not considering you properly. And, I moved continents 20 years ago, 24 years ago now. And I remember at that point thinking consciously, okay, there are several people here
mm,
I do not need in my life.
mm.
And I wish them well and I hope they're having fabulous
Yeah.
lives. But
Mm,
they were really drowning me in negative energy.
yeah. Yeah.
So, the analogy of leaving the continent and leaving people behind is kind of the same thing, I guess,
Yes.
in that I moved away and it was easy. And, when you are in their presence or they're around you, it's harder to get away from
It
that
is.
energy. But
Mm,
sometimes you just have to set yourself aside. And,
mm,
Julie, it doesn't just go across your current lifetime.
mm,
And if you go back to the issue of health, I
mm,
remember developing a cough in my teens.
mm,
And it wasn't just a cough, it was a cough that I couldn't stop. And I would hack and hack until I wanted to
mm,
vomit.
mm.
And
Wow.
went to see the doctor and was like, oh, here's some cough medicine, there's nothing wrong with you. And it was only years later when I was doing some work on myself, the kind of work we do, that I realized that cough started at the time my father died. My father died of lung disease.
Oh, goodness.
And I
Yeah.
carried it for a long chunk of my life.
Mm, mm.
So I couldn't take any kind of temperature change. If I went from a warm room into a cooler room, I would start coughing or vice versa.
Oh.
And I was unaware really for ages and ages that I carried it from that point. And then my sister developed lung complications and died from it. And she had very much
Mm,
been my father's little girl. She was daddy's girl,
mm.
absolutely. So in some way, she had taken a cross-generational thing.
Yes. Yes.
And I then went into the work we do, and I went back 2 generations and
Mm.
looked at a history of lung disease and complications and early deaths from lung disease.
Oh,
And
my
I can
goodness.
remember I went and worked with a healer about it and went out from him on my way to work because it was in the morning, standing at the bus stop in, I think it was a February day and it was freezing, and going, realizing I wasn't coughing. And I just stood there and thought, why am I not coughing?
Oh,
And it's gone. You know,
yeah. That
very
just
occasionally
shows.
I'll get a suggestion of it coming back, and I just have to go, not your cough.
Yes. Not
Unplug,
yours.
not yours.
Yeah.
Generational, not mine.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it works in all sorts of ways,
It does.
and in all
Yeah.
sorts of levels and
Yeah.
dimensions.
Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely. Yeah.
yeah. We
And
carry your analogy of garbage. Please tell it because I love it.
yes, I want
Yes,
to do that. Yeah, I
yes,
love doing this.
yeah,
Yeah, because what the guides start to tell me, if we, and I'm sure Rob's the same as well, but when I get a client in, or even ours, maybe I'm talking to a friend, well, basically, me and Rob know now we don't allow people to, to dump on us, and we know different. But if you can imagine, if you're taking on everyone else's problems and you're taking on all your own problems and not letting go of anything, choosing to carry on, creating this burden for yourself. And that's what, remember how we create our own reality, choosing to create this burden for yourself. This is not, we're not looking to blame anybody. And we're not looking to blame ourselves as well, because we can do something about it. But the analogy I have is in the 3D, in matter. If I told you to go and jump in, those big rubbish bins, or in America, garbage bins, and they're just full of rubbish, and they're all stuck, you get things that are stuck to you and it feels horrid. It might be food, and some of those things might be really heavy, and you come away, you come out of that garbage bin, and everything just feels so heavy, and you just, in the physical, you would see it and you would feel it, and you go, I just want to wash this away from me. Things are heavy, things smell, things feel
Yeah.
horrible. But when you start, as we start working with clients, or as, even with ourselves, as you start looking inward, your higher self or your body or your guides will start to show you what your energy looks like. And oh boy,
Yeah.
when we see it, and that's what I mean. If you can't, because you're choosing to ignore it, let's say you're ignoring it, you're just disconnected because there's so many things going on, thinking about it in just a 3D matter, and this is where we need to go beyond. So when you go beyond and into the other dimensions, and you're seeing the energy of your body, and you're seeing the dark patches, you're seeing all sorts of denseness. It might even be colors, but they're all quite dark colors. And you can almost see things moving about. I don't know if anybody understands what mycelium is, and there's some most beautiful mycelium that works under trees and has this, has an intelligence. But there's also in the body what looks like a darkness, a dark intelligence moving about, really, where you think this person has to get rid of all this. Are you not seeing it for yourself? And the person's just not aware that and this is being put in the garbage bin for 20, 30, 40, 50 years worth. Never emptying it, but just
Yeah.
literally burdening on it. And then I feel, is there any wonder people have bad backs? Is there any wonder people, have, chronic fatigue and ME or any other signs and symptoms? And I always feel like, although obviously we're not a medical consultant,
Yeah.
but I always feel like that could be your first point of call. Why don't you go within, look at yourself? You don't necessarily have to see it for yourself. It's just that feeling. If you feel very heavy and everything's a burden, one of the first things you can do is say to yourself, am I taking on some of this from other people? I mean, obviously you can get it from the fact that you say this person drained me, and then you're taking on, that horrible energy. But you can just as much say, not in my field, right? Let me just, everything that's not my energy, just take it out my field. Allow your higher self, allow your guide. You don't even have to see them. You don't even have to know they're there. Just declare and make that statement, make that intention. Take that out of my energy now. Thank you. Just take it out of my energy. So you can sit down and just allow and feel that energy coming out of you. Feel how much lighter you are from that. And is there anything else you want to add, Rob, about how to work through this?
Um,
Oh.
yeah. I mean, you can actually do it in one fell swoop,
Mm-hmm.
but that's
Yeah.
quite scary, I suppose, and
Yes.
a big ask.
Yeah.
So I think you need to isolate it into strands of garbage, shall we say?
Yes.
Let's call it
Yes.
garbage for now,
Yeah.
and work each one of those away, set each one loose,
Yes. Yeah.
and send it on to something. We would say send it back to the light.
Yes.
So
Yes.
take what is not good
Yeah.
and send it back to where it can become good again.
Yeah.
Not yours
Absolutely.
anymore, but let
Yeah.
someone else deal with it. Let source deal with it. So yeah, it's that awareness thing
Mm.
of allowing yourself to, you
Yeah.
just like open the fridge and look in your fridge
Yes.
and go, what actually is in here that I'm eating?
Yeah. Yeah.
And why
Exactly.
did I buy that?
Yeah.
It's that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Make some
Exactly.
informed choices. So,
Yeah.
like we were talking about in last week's session, Julie,
Mm.
it's you are your own reality.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
if you choose to feed yourself rubbish, it'll stick on you, won't it? You'll
Absolutely.
expect it to do.
Yes. Yes.
And if you choose to live amongst people who are negative, who
Mm.
drain you, if you choose to work in an area that doesn't suit you,
Mm.
you will just get enmeshed in this muck
Yes.
because
Yes.
that's the way it goes, unless you consciously pull yourself out of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's
Absolutely.
not as drastic as saying, "Oh, I have to leave this job or I have to get rid of these people," but you
Yeah.
have to look at it and go, "That isn't suiting me,
Mm. Mm.
and I'm not having that,"
Mm.
and let it go.
In yeah, in the physical, in the things, you can get the signs because you can say, we've said this, that person's draining me. What you're doing there is allowing them to come through. You can
Mhm.
push that away, so don't allow that. And even things like other things that you can feel yourself saying, such as I feel drained. This is a heavy burden
Yeah.
on me. All the things that you're actually almost putting a spell on yourself.
Yeah.
Everything that triggers you, if you feel something, you look to the outside world, and so we can maybe look in the global community, um, and it triggers you, or something that somebody said, you're constantly going on about it in the way, but not in a good way, not in a way
Hmm.
that's, yeah, this is great, but constantly bring it to the forefront of, without actually thinking about the solution. You're just constantly in the problem all the
Yeah.
time. I think
Yeah.
this is another thing that people, they can't make decisions because they're just constantly in the 3D problem and aren't moving away from, okay, what's the best solution for this? Take all my decisions away from me and just look at the solution and allow the decision to come to me. That's when you actually get the better decisions rather than this, just all consuming, allowing things to come into you and trigger. That is another good sign when, if something isn't, something has an electrical charge to your resonance, and you really need to work on getting this out. This is what we work with clients with,
Yeah.
because at the end of the day, me and Robert, we love working with guides. But to start off with, one of the things you have to do is start clearing your energy so that you know you're working with the truth. So you're working with your higher self. You're not working with, as well as people out there, that you're not working with anything out there that isn't in your best interest. So all of this is
Absolutely.
something you do, before. So this is why, we want to talk about this. And also this is about all of this, even connecting with guides, it's all about living the best life and living the best version of your life. And allowing people to drain you, allowing you to yourself to feel, to feel bad, to feel triggered, is not the, we can see is not the best version. And that's what then creates all the different realities. And you'll think so many things coming on board and getting overwhelmed. Oh,
Mm.
I can feel it in the end. I can feel it out there. So many people are overwhelmed. I get it myself. I do it myself, whether it's in business or whatever. But we have tools now. We know more now, and we can enable, help ourselves. A lot of this, I'm going into my March, membership, and April, saying we're going to do self mastery. It's all about being selfish now, and it's not selfish in the way we would think, but a lot of people are worried about being selfish because of conditioning, that we all have to please everybody else. But that is another way of draining your energy. So we need to
Oh
be
yeah.
selfish to allow our energy to be at its full. Another thing that you can maybe check within your energy is your energy should be blown up like a beautiful balloon, fully blown balloon. But can you feel into your energy and feel where there's any punctures in the balloon and your energy is deflated? We always say, I feel deflated. Well,
Deflated. Yeah.
that's your energy
Yeah.
field. That's not just your physical matter body. Your energy field is deflated as well. I nearly made up a word then. Energy field is deflated. I don't know what I was going to say.
Because it's dragging around all this junk.
Because
Yeah.
you're just like, yeah,
Yeah.
you are on your back. There's, a great
Yeah.
big sack of rubbish on your back. Get rid of it.
Julie, a
Just
perfect analogy
get
for
rid of it.
me
Yeah.
is if you keep going into your kitchen saying, "I really need to give this kitchen a good clean,"
Yes.
and then you actually do give this kitchen a good
Yes.
clean, you can change the energy in that room and you will feel it
Absolutely.
instantly. Your energy changes, its energy changes, and you
Does.
go, "I like having a clean kitchen."
Yes.
It's
How
exactly the
much?
same principle.
Yeah.
You know, clean your
How much
matrix out,
better? Yeah.
get rid of the junk, or
Yeah.
start to get rid of the junk,
Yeah. Yeah.
and move forward.
Yeah.
And I think key, as you get rid of the junk, is not to accumulate too much more.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah,
You then don't want it. Yeah.
yeah,
Absolutely. Like
yeah,
minimalist
absolutely.
life.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
that's you creating your own truth.
Yeah.
which doesn't involve junk.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah.
Or at least allows you to process it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. I mean, added to that is like, can you see how many times you go into the kitchen going, I need to clean the kitchen, and
Yes, before you
you're
do it.
wasting more time
Yeah.
saying, I need to clean the kitchen, and if you just get on and do something, it takes 2 minutes to just clear something away, and you're like, oh, it's done now. I used to do that a lot, procrastinate, like, oh, I need to clean this office, all the office work, and then I just got on and did it. Even just taking 10 minutes at a time. It's like, oh, what was I
Mm.
worried about? It's all done now. It's done. My cupboards are tidy like I like,
Yeah.
like my OCD, like I like them. No, they weren't before, but yeah, that's another. It is a lovely scenario, Robin. I say, we spend more time going, oh yes, I should
Yeah.
be
I
doing this.
should
I
do that, shouldn't
should
I?
be doing
Yeah.
that. What
Yeah.
can you feel how draining? Can you actually feel in
Yeah.
the energy how draining that is to
Yeah. And
go,
you just
oh, do
learn
it.
avoidance technique.
Yes,
So you stop going
absolutely.
in the kitchen if you don't have to, for example.
Yeah, yeah,
You just don't want to look at it.
yeah.
And I
Oh,
should
it's
say at this point,
comfortable.
my kitchen is perfectly clean,
Yeah.
just in case anyone thinks
Mine is
I live in
just
some
right
kind
now.
of horror. But
Mine won't be tonight, but it will be right. It is right now.
yeah,
Yeah. And that's the same as well with your energy field, I think as well. Oh, really good point there. That cleaning your energy is like cleaning a house. Yeah,
hmm
you can clean it, but just keep checking. With my clients, we work on doing daily tasks to clean, just like you have to clean your teeth. You don't just clean your teeth once in your lifetime and think that's it. You have to clean your teeth to keep things clean every day. Well, exactly the same in your energy field.
yeah,
Check in and be selfish even 5 minutes in the morning, how's my energy field? Is there something in? Was something
yeah,
happening yesterday? And did I go to bed? Or, did I watch something on telly? Or did somebody say something and it's just triggered and it's just
yeah.
in my energy field? Wow, just let's get it out. I promise you, you'll have a far better day at least. And you keep doing that. And it, literally, as you get used to doing that, it takes you less and less to
Indeed.
work in the energy field.
You know that old
Um,
saying, "Don't go to bed on an argument."
yeah,
True,
absolutely
because
true.
then the negative energy just grows and
It
grows and grows and
does.
grows until
It does.
somebody has the courage to lance the boil.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. Mm.
So yeah, don't sit with it if you don't have to
Yeah.
sit with it.
Exactly.
Get rid
Yeah.
of it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Lovely.
shed the load.
Yeah. Yeah. So hope that's helped everybody. Please do let us know how these podcasts are helping you. If you want any more information on what other podcasts we can, what other themes we can give for you.
Yeah.
Both mine and Rob's details are underneath. Let us know. Lovely. Good to speak. We'll see you next week. Bye for now.
Bye everyone.